we go.
Alright, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are talking about the physics of shot put. Okay, let's get it.
Cam, he's about to throw the shot put really far. All right, here we go. Here you go.
This sweet baby Walt about to do a stand throw real quick.
All right.
Here we go. Okay, so you just saw that stand throw there that me and Walter did. Okay, so that's using force. Force equals mass times acceleration. Okay, the mass is coming from me and Walter because like that's us. Okay, the acceleration is the way we're able to just pull our bodies around, and then you'll see that like as like we go into like better techniques like the glide where the guy goes from like standing down and then like he pushes himself back into that like throw stance, he ends up adding power in, which power is basically the force equation, mass times acceleration times distance over time. Okay, distance over time, that's velocity. So power is really just like power equals mass times acceleration times velocity. Okay, and the velocity is how like a lot of shot put athletes like to train and like that's their modality into things, because you already have the mass as yourself, you have the acceleration from you pulling around or pushing out the back, and then the velocity is kind of like that missing factor to get you that power to get that shot soaring.
All right, this is Cam doing the glide technique for the shot put. Yo, you can't say that in the physics file.
Okay, so to bring it back to these two dots here, which are my feet. Okay, so like when you enter into a shot, like you're getting ready to throw, you kind of get into like a squat position like that, and that gives you a bunch of potential energy, and then it shifts into kinetic energy as you sweep your leg across here, and it kind of transfers from potential into kinetic, and like it's transferred because it's like never lost or anything, and then I bring my foot around to here, and then the other foot swings around and we're here, and then you're in your stand throw like kind of position, and then you're really just trying to like rotate through hard, I guess. Yeah.
Go.
All right, so I'm Walter here to explain the concept of Newton's third law. So this is Cam in the shot put circle with his feet right here. And when Cam does his spin move to turn around and throw it, he pushes off the ground, and the ground pushes back up at him with the normal force, allowing him to throw the shot put, and then the ball flies from the force he creates.
All right, here's Cam with the tennis ball. He's about to throw it like a shot put.
All right, so parabolic motion, that's the projectile. Okay, the shot put is the projectile. I'm chucking it. This is me. Okay, the shot put comes up to my neck. I do my little spin move. It comes out in this motion. You see it best with the tennis ball because it travels the farthest, which means it's able to get the most arc, and that's a projectile like in motion. Okay, cool, done. Okay, so scientist that goes into shot put. Anatoly Bondarchuk was a Soviet scientist who revolutionized the idea of just swinging this foot here and swinging it here. Basically the rotation of the shot put. It brought in the ideas of like more momentum, more power, more like speed to try and get that shot moving. And it was just kind of like a step up from like the shuffle that people have been doing, where they kind of do that weird like shuffle step, or the glide where they just straight jump back into their stand position. Now having like a rotation just gave it like that extra step, extra more power. Like almost everybody that switches from a glide to the rotation ends up like throwing like further. Like one guy went from throwing 71 to throwing 75, which may only sound like a 4 foot like increase, but that's a lot like at the Olympic level. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so history of shot put. So this guy, this is The Rock, okay? And the ancient idea of shot put, like the Highland Games and stuff like that, they were like these big guys, and instead of like throwing out of a circle, I guess it was more so like kind of an open field, and they would just like chuck like random like sized rocks, kind of like varying in size, and they would chuck those all across the field. As we got into like the early days of the Olympics and we got into track and field, like we had guys like Jesse Owens pioneering the track side, but we also had guys starting to just throw the shot, and like they're starting to develop ideas. Like they were already throwing out of stance, but now they're throwing in like the shuffle. Later in the 50s, they threw in the glide. As we kept things going, maybe in like the 60s, kind of 70s era, we started incorporating things like rotation and where they would swing their leg around. There have been multiple world records set with each of the techniques, and as every technique comes around, the world record just kind of keeps moving and moving. Like we had like world records with the glide, we've had ones with sand, and now we've had ones with rotation. You know, it's almost like the rotation is just kind of, it's like a progression, and now we're in an era where rotation is better. But the high school record set at around, I think it was like 81, like 9 or something like that, was set by this guy Michael Carter, and he was a glide shot putter. So maybe in some aspects, like there's an era where it's just straight power and having that mass behind you and that ability to push or transfer carries. But overall, like the transition into rotation and the transition from rock throwing to this is now like just overall something that we can look at and be like, wow, that's like the history of this sport and like kind of how it came to be as an Olympic sport and what we're doing like moving forward.
All right.
All right, guys, that's the video. That's it.